The moon rose high and pale above the old house perched at the edge of the town of Miller's Cross. Long abandoned, its windows boarded and its garden overgrown, the house still held a soft whisper of life, if someone cared to listen. A faint glow flickered in one upstairs window, though the townsfolk had long presumed the house empty. A young man named Evan arrived on a brisk autumn evening. He had inherited the house from a distant relative he had never met, a woman he'd only known existed through a faded photograph and a single letter. The letter had asked him simply to take care of the house and keep its secret safe. Evan arrived, suitcase in hand, heart full of both excitement and a quiet dread. What awaited him? He could not say. The front door creaked as he entered, and the stale air of neglect met him. Dust motes danced in the beam of his flashlight. Furniture from another era remained, draped in dusty sheets. Paintings of stern ancestors stared from the walls. The fireplace held the last hints of a long-extinguished fire. He walked through the hall, noticing first the hush and the shadows, then the faint sound of a clock ticking somewhere deep in the house. He set his suitcase down in what appeared to have been a living room, opened it, and pulled out his essentials. A few minutes later he stood at the window, looking out over the garden. He pictured children playing there decades ago. Now the gate hung half off its hinges. As the night deepened, Evan began exploring. The narrow stairs took him to the upper floor. One room bore the remains of a library, books piled high, shelves sagging, a desk by the window with wax drips still visible in the inkwell. He sat in the chair and ran his fingers over a leather-bound volume titled Memoirs of the Night. He opened it, the pages brittle, and read by the weak beam of his flashlight. The memoir spoke of a guest who visited each night, a visitor of long memory, a promise of returning, and the house's enduring vigil for that guest. Evan's pulse quickened. Could that guest still be lingering? He shut the book and closed the cover with a soft thud. He listened. The house creaked. A floorboard groaned below. He waited. There was nothing, or so it seemed. He retired to the bed in the room adjacent the library and drifted into an uneasy sleep. At 3:12 a.m., the clock in the hall chimed faintly though it was broken. He awoke to a soft knock. He sat up. In the darkness, the door to his room stood slightly ajar. He frowned. Strange. He rose and approached the door. Outside, the corridor was empty. He perked his ears. There it was again, a soft step, a whisper of movement. He followed slowly, heart pounding, until he reached the top of the stairs. The downstairs hallway lay in shadow. At the end of the hallway, a single door stood open, faint light spilling from beyond. Evan descended, each step a small protest from the old wood. He paused at the doorway of the lighted room. Inside, there was no one. But in the center of the room, a figure sat in the armchair by the fire, though the fire was unlit. The figure's back was to him, a woman, wearing what seemed an old-fashioned dress, hair pinned high. She turned slowly and revealed a face gentle, pale, like moonlight on water. Evan gasped. "Good evening," she said softly. "I am the guest of the night." Evan, frozen, managed nothing for a moment. "Why are you here?" he finally asked. She smiled faintly. "Because this house promised me it would wait for me, and I did not break the promise." He considered her, and 1,000 questions flew through his mind. Was she memory? A ghost? A promise? He could not tell. "I inherited the house," he said quietly. "I found your name in the memoir." Her gaze softened. "Yes, I wrote the memoir. I told of my visits, of waiting, of hope. But time passes. You arrived. The promise remains." Evan stepped forward. "What promise?" "The promise that I would return," she replied. "I left this house many years ago to care for something beyond. I said I would come back. And now I have returned as guest of the night, so that the house may be complete again." He studied her. "Are you alive?" She laughed softly, a sound like wind through autumn leaves. "I am what remains. The house holds me in its memory. The garden holds me in its past. And you now hold the future." Evan's mind spun. "Then what must I do?" "Listen," she said. "Let the house speak to you. Let its stories guide you. Keep the vigil. For without you, I would still wait." Evan nodded, though he felt both awe and fear. He sat down opposite her. They spoke for hours of the house's history, the original builder who lost his love, the daughter who danced in the garden, the winters of loneliness, the Nights of Hope. The guest listened too, her voice full of both longing and peace. When dawn's first light crept through the windows, the guest rose. "I must leave now," she said, "but do not think I am gone. The night will call again, and when it does, I will come, but you will not fear, for you are part of the house now." She faded into the shadows. Evan blinked. When he looked again, the chair was empty, the fire cold, the house silent. He felt a weight settle in him. Responsibility, guardianship, connection. Days turned into weeks. Evan repaired parts of the house, cleaned the library, turned the garden into something live again. At night, he kept vigil. At the hour when the guest of the night came, he would sit in the library and open the memoir. Sometimes he felt her presence. A whisper of a breeze, a music box half heard, the light at the window. On the first anniversary of his arrival, he sat at the desk in the library and wrote into the blank pages of the memoir, "To the guest of the night, thank you for returning. I keep the promise." At that moment, the garden gate creaked open and shut, though he had not touched it. A single leaf fell, drifted down the stairs, and landed on his page. He looked up. In the window above, a flicker of moonlight seemed to take the form of a woman. Bowing. He bowed in return. He never saw her fully again, but he knew she came, and that the house glowed with her memory. And as the season spun onward, Evan lived in the house at the edge of the town, caring for it, listening for the guest of the night in the quiet hours, keeping the promise in his heart. And the house, once empty, became alive again.